Hey guys, welcome. My name is Eric Rohr, and this already feels so inauthentic. Long story short, I've been a wedding photographer for 4 years, and I want to talk to you guys about the concept of art and content and where content plays a role in photographing weddings and where, being artistic and all of that plays a role in weddings. And I just want to preemptively say that this is more of like a podcast type thing, so don't expect to be entertained. I'm most likely not going to do a thorough job editing this. You can, put this video on in the background, go to do the dishes or whatever it is you need to do. This is just an authentic conversation. But I wanted to talk to you about just content versus art and those two mediums and how we have to balance those as creatives. In today's world, given social media and given how social media affects our businesses, right? So we go and we photograph a wedding, we create a commercial, whatever it is. We then go and TikTokify it. I like it. Let's go with that. But we then have to go put it on TikTok and Instagram and so on, and we're confined to the, let's say, the composition. I'm blanking on the word. The composition, of 9 by 16 or 4 by 5 for Instagram, whatever it is. So if you take a wider frame and you want to put it on Instagram, you have to play by those rules. And that can be annoying because your art is not meant to be in 4 by 5 or 9 by 16. So that's annoying. And it's leaving me to feel like I have a job and not being an authentic artist. And it's not feeling the same way that it used to feel when I started. And I was like, oh my God, what's a camera? What's a lens? What's aperture? What's shutter speed? And like that beginning stage of really enjoying every aspect of it, it's really starting to not feel like that and it's starting to feel a lot like a job. And I may not work 9 to 5. I may work, 5 to 12 a.m. Actually work in the Jewish wedding niche, which a lot of them take place during the week in the evening, typically starting at 6:30 p.m. going all the way till 1 a.m. It's not a 9 to 5, but essentially it's a 9 to 5 in the sense of it becomes repetitive. It becomes, I have to turn it into Instagram content. And then there's also the whole aspect of, the back end of the business of, dealing with clients and contracts and so on. I also just want to say that if you get any value out of this and you learn something new, please help me grow the channel. And I know that's asking something of you and you probably don't know me, but it does help. It helps me grow the channel and reach more people and hopefully inspire more and inspire the next generation. Sorry about the mic. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's discuss this concept a little further of art versus content. So I think we also have to establish from the get-go, we have to define the word art. And to define the word art can't really be defined by definition. I think art is obviously a very subjective concept. A piece of graffiti on a wall in the street may seem like art to some people, and it may not seem like art to other people. And I think that in of itself, that juxtaposition of art is what makes art art. I feel that it's the fact that it's subjective to the viewer, and therein lies the beauty. And content is a little different. Content, I feel, is a little too quantifiable, right? Content is usually related to numbers, right? Views, likes, shares, comments, all of that stuff. And to quantify art and to quantify beauty just seems like a ridiculous concept to me. We can't quantify beauty, right? You can't look at a bride and be like, wow, that's a beautiful dress, and be like, oh yeah, it's 7 likes worth. That just sounded silly coming out of my mouth. But yet we take our art and then we go and try to put it into this medium that has this element of quantifiableness, and those two things don't really go together, and yet we're so dependent on it for our business and for more clients and more work, and then again further down the line that also translates into money. So now we have we have art, we have content, and then we have money. And all of those three things together mixed, it seems a little it seems it seems a little wacky to me to try to mix those three ingredients. It's like putting little bits of meat in your cookies. Like, what? No. That was just the first thing that popped into my head. I know that sounds gross. Um, but to so what do I think of this? What do I think of content versus art? And content, it it's a lot. Just emails. So let's break it down for a second. I think art, like I said, is by definition is subjective. And I think part of that subjectivity is also what the art is of, right? So for example, a beautiful photo of my wife, let's say, right? Which I love taking photos of my wife, right? She's the best subject in the world. Um, to me, right, with any imperfection in the photo, any imperfection in the video, is the most beautiful piece of art that ever existed to me, right? But if you show me a picture of your partner or of your kid and I don't know you, right? And I've never met any of you, right? Then I apologize. Sorry, I apologize for the background noise. I'm in an apartment and it can get a little noisy, but it's too annoying to fight. So just bear with me. But back to my point, right? So art is a is a subjective concept, and I think it's very important to look at what is the photograph, what is the video, right? Again, if it's a picture of my wife, it's the most beautiful picture of the world in the world. But if it's a picture of your kid, your dog, whatever it is, and I don't know it and I have no personal relationship to it, then to me that's not art. That's content, right? If I see a picture of your dog on Instagram, that's not art. That's content. But if it's a picture of my wife on Instagram, that is art, right? So it's this fluid concept. And I think the fluidity is what makes it unique, but yet at the same time, we're also trying to take our art, right? My picture of my wife, and go and put it out into the world and make it art for you. And I don't think by definition that can work. So I think we need to learn to blend those two things together. And when I say blend those two things together, I don't mean taking a picture of your dog and it being art and then turning it into content and then trying to say, sell that photo of a dog for $10 and adding in the element of money. Sorry, I'm just going to turn this on silent. Um, there we go. I don't think that can be done. Um, I think content should be content, and you should create content for content purposes, for getting more clients, for earning money. And I think art needs to be kept separate. I think you can take your art and use it as content, but I think once you do that, your art becomes content. And not to say that it's not art to you anymore, it's not artful, it's not, the work that you created as an artist, that child within you that wanted to create and put into the world. But I think once it's content, it's now content in that, box. It's now content on Instagram. It's to say it's art on Instagram or on a platform where you're, you know, going for the numbers. It seems a little silly to me. And what I want to just share with you guys in an idea, and hopefully you can put this into practice in your own life. It's really not that complicated. But I was actually talking to my wife the other day, and we were flipping through a photo album that I had made, and I turned to her. I said, "I love photo albums. Photo albums are what makes a home, or it's a huge element of what makes a home a home." And I think art lives in photo albums, right? Photo albums that sit on your shelf and only you and your family look at, right? Maybe on a nice Sunday evening, you're just flipping through, looking at old memories, right? And the photos that are in the photo albums are not these, picture perfect, photos, but rather they're imperfect, they're dirty, they're messy, they're chaotic. The composition's off, the lighting's off. Maybe you used a Polaroid, and there lies the beauty, there lies the art. And I think that's kind of the point I'm making, is that I think art and content, with a mindful with a mindful mindset, need to be separated. Not to say that one can't be used for the other. I think you can create a beautiful piece of content and you're like, wow, this is an amazing piece of content. I feel that this piece of content that I created is artful and it can be defined as art as to yourself or to, your close family or partners, whatever. And I think your art can be turned into content, but I don't think they coexist as one at the same moment. And I think a great practice to you know to pr- I think a great practice to do in life as an artist, as a photographer, as a cinematographer, whatever category you fall into, um, I think is to have mediums and platforms where you keep it separate. So a personal Instagram where you document the moments of your life, but then also a public Instagram where you publish your work and you share your work, your wedding photos, you share your event photography, your street photography, whatever it is, and that's where you publish your work. And I think the practice of keeping those two things separate um, is what makes art art and what makes content content. And it can be a little annoying because I've been shooting weddings for almost 4 years now at an average of, I would say, 85 to 100 weddings a year. So like on average 3 to 4 weddings a week. It's a lot, and the hours are crazy, and the work is a lot of times crazy, and the clients can be a handful sometimes. But to me, yes, I take my skill and I go and implement it and deliver, beautiful work for the client. But to me, that's not where the art lies, right? I'll take a beautiful picture of a bride and groom and I'm documenting, the most memorable day of their lives. And whether it's the most memorable day of their lives is a whole different topic. I don't really believe that, but different different story for a different time. But to be able to take my skill and my artful mindset and my artful vision and go and deliver deliverables and document their day, yes, I can do that and I can go do that. But that's work. And to me, I'm out with my wife, I'm out with my family on a hike, let's say, or we're out on a day trip going to the beach, and I take a picture of my kid, I take a picture of my wife, I take a picture of whoever, and we're like, that is art. That's where I feel at peace. That's where I'm happy. That's where, like, this random blurry out of focus, off color temperature picture, this is the most beautiful picture in the world. This is art to me. And I think we really have to learn to separate and compartmentalize. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. But I think, yeah, I think we need to learn to separate those two things. And I think that is, to me, again, the concept of subjectivity. To me, that is the difference between content and art. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to hit the like button, smash the subscribe button. Help me create more videos for you guys and help create and reach more people. It's always appreciated. Feel free to share it with friends and family or any creatives. And I will see you next time. Hope you guys have a great week. Peace. Enjoy.